Welcome back to another episode of D&D Quick Shots. My name is Brandon, and today we're talking about setting up games to play online. How do you play D&D or any other tabletop role-playing game with friends? Sit back and relax and pay attention. Alright, so what we're going to be talking about first are kind of the core requirements to play online. Number one, you need to have some kind of shared audio. You don't necessarily need video. Video will help if you really want to get into it. But shared audio is the primary way to do that. Now, there's a lot of techniques you can go with. You can do like your Google Hangouts chats, or you can do, like Facebook Messenger, I think has a group thing. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Most people nowadays I see actually using what's called Discord. So there'll be a link to Discord in the comments. So if you have any questions, you can check that out. But Discord is primarily the main one that most people use. So what it is, you create kind of an audio server, and then there's a text channel as well. There's a lot of add-ons you can actually put into there, to help you roll dice, or maybe you want to put ambiance and sounds and all kinds of stuff. It has a lot of utility in there, but primarily running it is kind of the simplest thing, because you have a text channel and you have an audio channel, and you can flip between things. So there's a lot of really good guides for how to get better at using Discord out there, so I would definitely look to those, or I'm sure there's other YouTube videos out there with a little more info. But primarily, you need a way to communicate in the first place. The second thing up, I highly recommend, is doing something like D&D Beyond. Now, it's kind of a hit and miss depending on what your views of the whole digital licensing thing is. I myself have a lot of the core books and had to repurchase them for the digital content, which kind of sucks. Because I probably have $400 or $500 worth of actual physical books, and now I'm having to go back and buy, a few $100s worth online. So at that point, it kind of makes it cost prohibitive if you already have the books in the first place. But as a DM, if you actually buy the entire DM license and everything goes with it, you can have one person buy everything and share it to the entire group, which is a very, very useful tool. So it kind of does help, cut down the cost. If you have a really, really dedicated core group, you can buy one of the bundles. Everybody can pitch in and do all that kind of stuff. But the best thing about it as a DM is that, number one, it's structured for actually building out the character. So it helps you understand how many spell slots, because it automatically calculates it, how many things you can carry. It helps you calculate all of your, stats, everything else. And it's very, very simple in execution. It's not a complicated, 58,000 menus kind of thing. It is a very, very straightforward setup. So as a DM playing, I really do enjoy setting everything up through D&D Beyond, because I can view, character pages at any time. I can flip back and forth and see who's actually doing what. Now, there's still a lot to be desired within that one. I would really like to see a DM page within the character sheets of the campaign, so I can actually see side by side just my basic level information for each character. But they're constantly evolving and updating. Hopefully that's one of those things that they'll actually pull in soon. But as a general rule of thumb, you need some way to be able to share your information back and forth, and the D&D Beyond is actually really handy. The next setup we're going to talk about, outside of being able to talk to each other and being able to have shared character sheets, is primarily the actual tabletop itself. Now, there's a lot of ways to run a map in a game. So the easiest way is just sharing a picture to everybody and they can all look at it on their own. But that doesn't actually share it so everybody has positioning and details and all kinds of different pieces. That's just not a thing. I would say, probably the most popular is Roll20. Roll20, if you watch any kind of online streaming D&D, you'll see that very often. It's going to actually have little, coin-looking pieces for each character. You can set the light and how far people can see. There's a whole lot of stuff already built into the D&D world, so you could actually buy, not just an adventure, but then the Roll20 pieces of it. So you have all the maps, you have all the creatures, you have all the details already laid out. So if you're actually really running a campaign out of one of the source books, really, really effective. It is a great, great resource. But there's, again, more cost to that. You actually end up having to pay for the licensing and everything else. I'm not a huge fan of that. and I also homebrew a lot more than I actually run campaign pieces. So in that regards, I'm kind of a hit and miss on that one. There's also Fantasy Grounds. It's very, very similar to Roll20. Once again, it's an online map that shares between everybody. You can set up, shared pieces so everybody can, see. You can set fog of war. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. My go-to is actually what's called Tabletop Simulator. Now, this one is very often overlooked, but hands down, I'm going to say it's the best one out there. So you can actually buy it on Steam. I think it's like 20 bucks, but the community is huge, huge community. I mean, there are so many maps that people actually already build. I'll put a little link down here so you guys can actually see it. But hands down, that's my favorite because there are so many different pieces and parts to it. So I may make a video with a little bit more details on that one. But I would say with the friendliest user interface and just open source for everybody to actually be able to get into and play with, and only having the one-time purchase fee on it, makes it my favorite hands down. So to recap, the top 3 things you need to get playing, really number 1 is just a source of audio for everybody to talk together. If you want to play video, that works too. Number 2, you're going to need a way to share character sheets, which is like D&D Beyond. And then number 3, if you really want to get to the point of having a shared map, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, or Tabletop Simulator. So that's really the basic layout for what you need to run online. Definitely if you have any questions, leave a comment below. Any videos you'd like to see, definitely leave a comment below. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day, guys.